and welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and I'm very glad you're joining us again today. Today we are on location on 5th Avenue and 20th Street at the office of Arthur Jaffe, who does a kind of bodywork technique, which is a form of neuromuscular therapy. It's called spiral technique, and he's been doing this for many years, and actually he's taught and done this in different parts across the world. And he's quite renowned for this work, which is why we wanted to interview him, so you can all get a sense of the kind of therapeutic modality using deep tissue bodywork that is available right here in the Big Apple. I've had some work done by Art, and well, highly recommend it, because he helped to loosen up parts of my body that were otherwise just immovable, essentially, virtually immovable. And from a background in music as a rock and roll singer, he has been moving right along in his life to doing this kind of work and really trying to spread the word about it as best as possible and let as many people as possible know about its value. So, hey, Art.
Hey, Mitchell. Thanks
Great
for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So what is it that got you excited about? There's so many different techniques. What is it about this particular one that got you impassioned?
A friend of mine came back from, he had broken his neck, and for 2 years he couldn't move his head. And the doctors were telling him that he had to have his spine fused or he could become a paraplegic at any moment. They were terrifying him. And he said, "You're not turning me into Frankenstein." And he went to this healing symposium set up by Yogi Bhajan, who brought Kundalini Yoga to the United States. And there was
4-H community?
The 3HO, yeah.
3H.
Yeah, yeah. 4-H is like Girl Scouts. But
that's right, okay. Well, this is not exactly that.
It's a beautiful thing, though. Yeah. So he came back from that event, and he met a man named Mark Lamb there. And Mark said to him, "Your neck's not paralyzed." He said, "It's frozen from the trauma, and you're afraid of what's going to happen if you move it, and it's in a lot of pain." And he started doing this work with him, this particular movement and energy. And Dial came back from there, and he walks into my office, and he goes, "Look." And he starts twisting his head. He says, "I'm bringing this guy out here. You got to experience his work."
Now, how much time elapsed between the accident, Art, and his getting that treatment? Or he was in that stagnation?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Of virtually no movement of his neck, thinking that he was paralyzed.
Right. Right. And then for 7 years, first of all, Dial Singh Khalsa started working with Mark, and he learned from him, and then they discovered a bunch of things together. And then after 7 years, Dial convinced Mark to teach a class, and I was in that first class.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
So this was something that Mark himself designed.
Well,
as an approach.
Mark designed. He had actually learned the initial work from an old physician named Nate Schulman out in California, and then he combined it with work using Eastern medical technology combined with Qi. And me having a background in, my father taught hand-to-hand combat and karate and jiu-jitsu in the Marines during World War II. That was one of the things he did. And so from when I was very young, I learned how to maim and kill, how to use Qi to maim and kill.
You did?
I did.
Oh.
But what I learned from Mark was using Qi.
Is this your good side?
Yeah, well, it's my kinder side, my gentler side. Thousand lights.
The left, yin.
The thousand light side, yeah. So what I learned from Mark was, first he worked with me at that point, and I had chronic pain in my back that was so much ameliorated. Within a few minutes I knew, because I had been traveling the world studying body work. And within a few minutes I knew this is what I was looking for.
Wow.
And so between what he and Dial taught, and then they parted ways, and so I studied with Dial, I studied with Mark, and I had studied with Qigong masters, and kind of created my own style of this work.
I got it.
And so I've been doing that here now in New York since '95. And it's been exciting. It's very interesting work. I get tremendous results from people on all kinds of scales because it's whole self reintegrative. It's not just body work, but it gets rid of places where people have suffered injury, whether it be psychological, emotional, or physical. In the case of physical injury always has an emotional content.